Welcome to Loren Reads to You. Tonight we're reading The Bedtime Killer by me, Loren Malloy. So make sure you're subscribing or following wherever you're watching or seeing this. And if you haven't seen any of this book yet, make sure you pause this and save this and watch chapters 1 through 3 and then come back to this because this is chapter 4, okay? All right, let's get started. Get comfy and let's get started. Chapter 4. It's another hot one today in beautiful, sunny Savannah, Georgia. Here at 97.3 WKTZ Oldies, it's our mission to try to keep you cool with another uninterrupted hour of oldies but goodies. But first, a special news alert. Police are on the lookout for a man they said was outside a young lady's window late last night, caught literally with his pants down. The peeping-tom was scared off by the poor girl's father, but police say to be on the lookout. Make sure to keep all your doors and windows locked and shaded. Well, it seems that the heat has fried another poor soul's brain. Ladies, from us at WKTZ, we ask you to be careful out there. Stay indoors, stay safe, stay cool, and stay tuned to 97.3 WKTZ Oldies all summer long. Horace snapped off the radio with a huff. That's good. No one knew it was him, he thought, and there wasn't a description of him. He'll just have to be much, much more careful now. Even with the report on every station, people still didn't give him a second glance. Every time a customer heard his truck door slam, they would peek out, see the landscaping logo on his truck, and walk away. They all thought the same thing. That's just the landscapers. They'll never do that to me. For some reason, people always think daylight keeps them safe. Bad guys only come out at night. Horace didn't know who convinced all these people of such a ridiculous notion. He never understood it. What did people think bad guys do? Take off from being a bad guy during the day? It was absurd how many people so easily trusted others during the day. Although he didn't care. Whomever it was that convinced people of it, he would definitely shake the guy's hand for it. It makes it so easy for him to go about his daily business undetected because of that belief. Murderers, rapists, thieves, and peeping-toms only come out at night. Okay. Whatever these people wanted to believe worked for him. Not one of his clients acted differently in any way. The shades were completely up and the windows were wide open, allowing for the beautiful Georgia breeze to sweep through their houses. He had no trouble being able to see inside, as he always does when watching Mrs. Haberdasher do her daily exercise routine. He was able to watch his pretty Janet for 40 minutes jumping and bouncing around to some dance workout tape. Usually, little Horace was well satisfied by the time her tape was over. Both Horace and Janet would be out of breath, sweaty, in need of a shower. Today, they both were out of breath, sweaty, but little Horace just was never able to finish. He needed more. He was about to stop trying and walk off to start edging the property when Chantel's terrified eyes flashed into his head again. Little Horace jumped for joy at the memory. From his place outside the window, Horace's eyes never left Janet's sweet backside as he cried out a harsh moan and shuddered his release right there on the middle of the haberdasher's bushes. He had to see his sweet Janet again tonight. That was a promise, Horace thought. Horace turned to finish the bushes so he could get on to going to his next lady. He thought, God, I'm such a ladies' man. I don't know how I do it. Each house he went to after that, little Horace acted the same way, almost satisfied with the same things he and his lovers always did together. It became infuriating. Now that he knew the missing elements, Horace knew nothing else would completely satisfy him. Both little Horace and big Horace knew what was missing above all others. Fear. The look of fear in her eyes while she was looking right at him brought him such sweet sensations that he had never truly known before. He had never considered that allowing his ladies to look right at him could be such an erotic aspect, that having his lovers showing fear would actually enhance their intimate connection, but Horace had felt it firsthand. Those eyes, so wide and fearful, caused such a rush of desire throughout his whole body. Watching her unsuccessfully try to cover up her young, beautiful, tan, naked flesh made his member quiver and twitch with dark excitement. The thought of her screaming in terror made his mouth water and his eyes roll into the back of his head with pleasure. The memory of the encounter they had together was blending with his new constant fantasy, which had made him soil himself more than once that day. His pants were beginning to get very ripe in that Georgia heat. It also seemed to be the only way now for little Horace to relieve himself. He finished that last house of the day, which he hated ending his day on a client who wasn't one of his lovers. He was just some old man with a big piece of property that needed to be mowed. Horace knew every client his boss had given him couldn't be a beautiful woman he was dating. The issue was, after such a disappointing afternoon, it didn't help to end the day on an old man who was always complaining at him or yelling at him for not doing something the right way. The right way, meaning his old, out-of-the-loop, doesn't understand it is in the 50s anymore, way such as today. The old man was yelling from his front porch about how stupid Horace was for not aerating the lawn with shoes with spikes in them instead of the machine. Horace wasn't wearing basically golf cleats to walk up and down this man's large piece of property. No way, no how was he doing that. And snapped at him after being called stupid for the third time. Horace hollered at the old man, "You don't like how I'm doing this? You can do it your fucking self. You understand, you motherfucking piece of shit? Don't ever call me stupid again, or I'll rip your fucking head off." Horace packed up and went home. He had never snapped at a client before. Horace was nervous. It was so unlike him to yell back at anyone. Alone in his car, at his steering wheel was one thing sure. But to a man? Himself? Nope. He has never, ever been able to do that before. Normally, he just went silent. Not this time. Horace felt a sharp pain in his head. It was causing him difficulty breathing. All he could see was blood all over a ratty, old, carpeted floor. He kept hearing a man yelling the word "stupid." He felt nauseous and lightheaded from the pain. Then, just as fast as it hit him, it was that fast gone. Like it was some flash of light or a serious smack to the head. He was back in his truck again and breathing fast and shallow. A weird shudder passed through his whole body. His eyes even seemed different now, like they were somehow colder than before. Horace began to chuckle in a strange manic sort of way. It had a maniacal tone to it. It only lasted seconds before he shook his head and smiled. He knew what it had to be. That was chapter 4 of The Bedtime Killer by me, Loren Malloy. Make sure you're following and subscribing wherever you're watching or seeing this. And let's get ready for chapter 5. All right. And if you'd like this book for yourself, check it out on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle.